This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Hey, yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay, hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk to my good friend, Dan Mitchell, which we're going to be bringing up here pretty soon to talk all things Arizona Cardinals versus the Buffalo Bills. Let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsor of the video, BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go currently right now. If you use my link below in the description, if you're watching this on a playback, it will be pinned in the comments below as well. But you get a 125% sign up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. So go ahead and choose BetUS today in the description below. All right, let's go and get started here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and bring up my guy, Dan Mitchell. He covers the Buffalo Bills pretty much like I cover the Arizona Cardinals. So let's go ahead and give him a warm welcome. What's up, Dan? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you doing? Thank you so much for having me on. I know that I speak for everybody. About time we have some real football to dive into in just a couple of damn days. It was a long, strenuous offseason. But about damn time, we'll start getting answers about what our teams generally look like in 2024.
Absolutely. And if you do not know, Dan here, as well as myself, is a part of Round Table Sports. Currently today on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Arizona time, we will be, I will be live on NFC West Roundtable, where it's a battle, man. I got to go between the Rams guy, the 49ers guy, and a Seahawks fan, which everybody feels like we're going to be fourth in the division.
So I have to tell people as well, like 49ers fans, like they definitely dominate, and so do Rams. Like we need some Arizona Cardinals representatives tonight, right? Because there's going to be a lot of slander in there from your rival fan bases. I can almost guarantee you that. So certainly check out the NFC West Roundtable tonight and show Mike some support, because
please,
it's going to be a bloodbath out there.
It is a bloodbath every single week. I go to battle and I always feel like I'm coming out with scars. But let's dive into it, man. I think the most exciting thing to talk about here in this week, obviously Cardinals versus the Bills, week 1. Let me just ask you this real quick, Dan, and I want a real serious answer here. Take yourself back until May, when you heard that the Arizona Cardinals were going to be your first opponent. What did you feel like, and what did the Bills Mafia feel like when the Cardinals were first slated to be your first opponent?
So I'll be completely honest with you, man. We were looking at all of our opponents, and there was a lot of games where we didn't want to open the season up with, right? Especially last year, we dropped an absolute heartbreaker to a divisional opponent in New York. I was there. It sucked having to witness that in person. But then again, we ended up seeing the Cardinals. So at first, I was like, okay, nice. I like the way that the Buffalo Bills match up against this team. But then there's always something in the back of my head, because I'm not sure about the Cardinals, but the Bills always historically end up dropping a game completely out of nowhere. Like when I see that vast majority of the sports books, or like all of the talking heads in the media, are picking the Buffalo Bills to win, that's typically a giant red flag for me. I'm saying, oh no, what's going to happen? Is this team going to go out there flat? But I'll tell you what, I do like this matchup, since there's so many questions of an offensive coordinator that finally has his own playbook. He's not going to be play calling based off of somebody else's playbook, a brand new defensive coordinator. So I'll tell you what, I like it, but in the back of my head, I'm still going to be nervous, as I am each and every single week.
As you should be. Let's go and get started here. I have a question for you here. There was a lot of moving parts amongst your Buffalo Bills, offensively and defensively. I want to see if you can go ahead and give us a glimpse of just how different this team looks like from 2023 to 2024. And at the end, are you worried about the people that are not here on this roster anymore?
Yeah, man, most definitely. So some massive departures. And so I always joked around and I said that Thanos ended up snapping our childhood away from the Buffalo Bills, because all of the big names that the Buffalo Bills were known for are no longer on this roster. So, for example, you have Trey White, you have Jordan Poyer, you have Micah Hyde. We thought we were getting Matt Milano back this year, but unfortunately he tore his bicep. He's not going to be back until at the very earliest December, and that's even a stretch from that perspective. And then we ended up losing out on Stefon Diggs and then also Gabe Davis. So what I like to explain to people is that all of these departures really don't matter for this upcoming season for a variety of reasons. When it comes into all the defensive departures, you look at Poyer and Hyde, for example. We haven't seen Poyer and Hyde play a game together for more than 7 games in total for the past 2 years. So the Buffalo Bills have an answer there. As far as with Trey White, right? I mean, he was a great corner for us for a long time, but he caught the injury bug. He was never able to recover from that. We've only seen Trey White for about 3 games for the past 2 years as well. Matt Milano was injured after week 5, and we ended up playing without him from week 6 all the way on until we ended up stealing the division from the Miami Dolphins. So defensively, when it comes into it, all of our key contributors that made the Buffalo Bills finish 3rd overall in the league for points allowed are returning. We have all of the DNA and all of the game plans to play without Milano. Same thing to play without our safety tandem. It's going to be a lot of dime package, have a lot of I would say some linebacker prospects that we can be excited about, but if not, what the Bills are going to do is just throw Bernard out there, right as the middle linebacker, and then run with dime 6 DBs. So as far as defense, I really don't see much of a difference as far as production since all of those contributors are back. As far as offense is concerned, a lot of what made the Buffalo Bills questionable last year for the offensive side of the ball was when we had Ken Dorsey as our offensive coordinator. That was when we went 6-6. And I swear to God, this dude had 10 plays that he would just run over and over again. I thought it was my nephew playing Madden as far as his play calling is concerned. But the second that Joe Brady ended up taking over, he essentially phased Stefon Diggs and Gabe Davis out of this offense entirely, where the identity was James Cook was our tight end. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and then also our slot receiver in Khalil Shakir. So yes, we have a lot of departures, but what made the Buffalo Bills go on a run last year and what our identity shifted to, all of those contributors are back in 2024.
Oh, that's fascinating. I was just going to ask here, because so I did have James Cook in my fantasy football team last year, and I was so darn frustrated with how he was used in the beginning of the season, and it did turn around. I'll tell you that. It did turn around. So do you think that this is going to be more of a run or, I guess, type of offense now? Obviously, you can't really kind of rule out Josh Allen with what he can do with, airing the ball out, but what do you think this offense is going to look like?
Yeah. I mean, damn, I hope so, man. I really, really hope so. As much as Josh Allen likes to say that he wants to play football his way and he doesn't mind running the football, he doesn't mind doing his variation of the tush push, etc. I pray that we become a predominantly run-first team. We have right now James Cook, and although sometimes he frustrates the hell out of me with some very key drops that come into huge games, if James Cook drops an easy touchdown pass on Sunday, I'm going to lose it. My drywall, rest in peace. But then you add Ray Davis from University of Kentucky, who has a lot of tread on his tires, but the dude ended up collecting over 1,300 yards on the ground. He's an actual north-south sort of runner, so he's complementing what James Cook does well. I'm thinking what the Buffalo Bills are going to change into is going to be more like a 55% run, 45% in the pass game by itself. And the number one target for all of you Cardinals fans out there wondering, okay, no Diggs, no Gabe Davis, who is Josh going to be going to early and often? 1,010% it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. He will finish Sunday with the most targets, with the most receptions. That's going to be the focal point rate of this offense if the Buffalo Bills want to be successful.
Okay, so Kincaid, that was a question that I had. I mean, because those are pretty big departures. Now, there was some drama that kind of went along with, obviously, Stefon Diggs last year and him even leaving the Buffaloes. I know you don't want to kind of relive that, but what exactly went on? I actually had Stefon Diggs on my fantasy league again, and I don't know. It almost kind of seemed like him and Josh Allen weren't seeing eye to eye. Was there an issue internally?
So I'll be completely honest with you, man. I've heard a couple of things from somebody that's sort of relatively close within the building. And from what I understand, the second that playoff situation happened where Stefon Diggs was yelling at Josh Allen on the sideline, all of us Bills fans were in denial, just saying, hey, like these guys are just super competitive. I mean, come on. They were on the cover of Sports Illustrated Kids. Obviously, they're
Yeah.
best friends. But from what I understand, yes, they didn't even talk to each other last year. It was
Wow.
exclusively business. It was the entire thing. And from what I understand, like him missing out on minicamp last offseason was a big deal. He was unhappy with how the organization was going with. And to be completely honest with you, man, I am glad that he's not on this organization anymore. I have this theory that when you have a player like that, obviously he wants to be a focal point of the offense. He wants to lead in targets. Even if it's not the best path for the team to be successful offensively, he wants to dominate on the box score.
Yeah.
So, yes, from what I understand, this was not just, oh my God, was just business. It definitely wasn't Diggs and Allen. Like they were best friends. I always try to tell people, like, guys, listen, like these players um, have no bond to any organization on the face of the planet. This is literally coworkers. This is exactly what it is.
100%.
If your job is pissing you off and you can go out and you can find a new opportunity, there's no loyalty to any city. There's no loyalty to any team. So I'll be honest with you. I'm glad it's over because I was getting sick of having to defend Stefon Diggs or defend the organization. And from what I understand in training camp, it sounds that spirits are very high and this team is way tighter than it used to be. So certainly good to hear.
You know, that kind of reminds me of DeAndre Hopkins with the Cardinals. In the beginning, I didn't quite understand, but then kind of really looking deeper into it, DeAndre Hopkins wanted it to be all about him. So honestly, I think at the end of the day, it's very similar to what you guys are kind of going through or went through with Stefon Diggs. But let's keep moving on to this matchup here because I think it's probably one of the most intriguing, excitement games or exciting games, at least for me. I mean, I'm a Cardinals fan. That's probably what it is. But do you think there's going to be a play in terms, because obviously the Cardinals play in the dome, right? That's what we play. What's the weather going to be like over there? Like what's projected like?
See, in Buffalo, man, you never know. You absolutely never know, man. Was born in Buffalo, New York, and the earliest time I ever remember it snowing was like mid-October. But the one thing that's interesting is the wind. It is windy as hell right over in Highmark Stadium. We ended up bringing in a punt returner a week ago that came off of the New York Jets from the preseason. And we asked him, we said, hey, when was the windiest you have ever had to field the punt? And he said, today, right in Highmark Stadium by itself. Where the stadium is placed, it's right off where the wind rolls off of Lake Erie. And it's very hard. So say, for example, that I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan. I would probably hope that your team has like a run first sort of mentality and succeed with that, because I have seen, man, so many like field goal attempts be absolutely whipped right over into the stands. I have seen passes that typically would have been a dime in a dome or somewhere with regular conditions that would have passed, but ended up landing 5 feet right off to the right or the left. So I don't have the weather report right in front of me, but wind is always a factor.
An issue.
At Highmark.
Okay. All right. Well, continue to talk about this game. So I think that the Arizona Cardinals have upgraded key positions on this defense and offense as well. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in here from the draft. We're going to be leaning on him very, very heavily. And I can definitely very well see him being very high targeted, for the Cardinals. But continue to talk about your offense, because I still think it's pretty fascinating. What do you think we're going to see of Curtis Samuel? Do you think it's going to be something where they're going to get more accustomed towards the end or the middle part of the season, or do you think they got that connection right now?
Yeah, man. So Samuel, in my opinion, was one of the most slept on prospects in free agency this year, because you reflect on his carousel of bums that were his quarterback his entire career, right? I mean, just like that carousel of Carolina once Cam Newton just ended up falling off of a cliff and then over into Washington. Fun fact, his best season was when Joe Brady was his offensive coordinator in Carolina. And he was used sort of as like a Swiss Army knife sort of guy. During training camp, he's been lining up right in the backfield. He's been integral right in the screen game by himself. He's a fast dude. Like runs 4.3, 4.4 40. He's like top 5 in the league for separation on average once he busts off the line. So I'm not necessarily seeing him being married to one specific part of the field. I don't see him being right on the perimeter all the time. I don't see him exclusively being out of the slot or completely always being in the backfield. But I think what the Buffalo Bills are hoping is that we can make Curtis Samuel what Deebo Samuel is to the San Francisco 49ers. I don't
Mm.
want to disrespect him and say that this is the dollar store version of Deebo Samuel or the Walmart version, but I don't also want to set high expectations of seeing that exact same like production. But with all of the signs we've seen from, first off, his experience with Joe Brady. Second off, he has the best quarterback he's ever played with his entire career. I have a feeling that you're going to be seeing him implemented a lot, but in like these like trick play, sort of Swiss Army knife sort of situations. If the Buffalo Bills can get a screen game for the first time since the Obama administration, that would be fantastic. And I think that that's going to be how he's utilized.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Last question, and it's with the wide receiver, Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
I think he had a very, very entertaining press conference to start off his NFL career with the whole jacket, the yellow jacket. How do you feel about Keon Coleman this year? Not just this game, but what do you think he's going to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, man. The wide receiver I wanted more than anything in this draft was Lad McConkey. I wanted the Buffalo Bills to grab that kid, but then we ended up trading back twice and landing with Keon Coleman. I don't think that a 40-yard dash is exclusively what makes a wide receiver good, right? Like you can win with speed and you can win with separation, or you can win with hands, with body control, with overall awareness. And that is exactly what Keon Coleman is, right? Like he's like a true 50-50 ball kind of guy. A lot of people are like, oh my God, was Stefon Diggs, but he's 6'1". He is way better out of the slot. And that's exactly how I think Houston's going to be using him in the first place. Right. But what Keon Coleman needs to be for this team is that third and have to have it sort of conversion. He has the size. He bullies DBs 9 times out of 10. He's much larger. He wins like that physical battle, and his hands are absolutely immaculate. I don't anticipate this guy to go out and have a Marvin Harrison Jr. sort of year, right? I just don't. I think that's unrealistic. But what I would love from him and what I would, sort of put down as a successful season for his first year in the system is finishing about, 700 yards, 750, and just being like that, like insurance policy for Josh Allen, where like we don't necessarily need crazy separation. We don't need like this massive speed, but we need to convert a third and long, and we need him to come down with it in the red zone. So by the end of the season, I see him finishing probably about like 4th in targets, but certainly going to ease, sort of make sure that he's eased in right to the system, since Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills normally don't like rookies and wait until about midway through the season to completely unleash him.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about Sean McDermott real quick. Sorry, I know I said one last question, but actually 2 more. Is Sean McDermott in the hot seat at all, or is there anything?
I hope so.
Yeah? Really?
I hope so. I do, man. I do. Here's the thing, right? Like, it's not about whether or not that he's on the hot seat, because if you were to ask everybody in Bills Mafia, they would say yes. And they would say, you know what? Yeah, most definitely. Say, for example, that he gets bounced in the divisional, or God forbid that he misses the playoffs this year, then we are going to be signing petitions for us to have coaching interviews with Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinators out of Detroit and also Houston for the following year. The problem is that from what I understand, this ownership loves the Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott tandem. So we would need to have such a disappointing season. And I'm not even talking about like missing the playoffs. I'm talking like we would need to win 6-7 games for this to even be entertained.
Right.
Here's my thing. If, for example, that he does end up having one of those bad seasons, he could so easily fall back on the fact, well, you let all of my veterans walk. What did you expect, right? And I think that this ownership would give him one more season once they end up freeing more money in free agency to make some moves. But we all know that's BS based off of what I was just telling you, that I think all of our key contributors that made us good last year are returning. But yeah, man, most definitely. I personally have him on the hot seat, and say that he doesn't get past the divisional this year, then I want him gone faster, because I'm getting sick of him wasting Josh Allen's prime. But unfortunately, I think bare minimum, we are sort of with this guy, I'd say, for the next 2 years.
Gotcha. Okay. So you got a crystal ball right now. You know what's going to happen on Sunday's prediction. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think is going to go down?
All right, man. All right. So as far as the game plan for the Buffalo Bills, I do see us leveraging the run, especially tremendously. I see this being a 55% run, especially with 45% pass going into it. With the pass game, I see us completely picking on your perimeter corners, specifically your rookie and Max Melton. I'm not sure who is going to be lined up against him, whether or not that it's Curtis Samuel, whether or not that it's Keon Coleman. But I think that we're going to stay away from the middle of the field, of course, to avoid Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson. Great safety tandem. Have to give them, as much credit as humanly possible. Don't really see Josh Allen trying to flirt with inside of the numbers downfield much. It's going to be short passes off to the perimeter. He's going to absolutely target Max Melton to take advantage of his rookie tendencies. And then I think you're going to be seeing a lot of James Cook and then also Ray Davis going into it. This entire offensive plan is going to be chewing the clock. What the Buffalo Bills' goal is going to be is by the time the game is over, we are going to be hoping for like 29 minutes to like 30 plus minutes of time of possession, wear them out. And then as far as our game plan against the Arizona Cardinals defense, so that offense by itself, it's really just pressure. We have to go on ahead and make sure that we can get as much organic pressure as humanly possible against Kyler Murray. He's great against the blitz. Like, he is going to be completely destroying this middle of the field right at the beginning if we end up sending blitzers from linebackers, DBs, etc. So we need to take advantage of some of these mismatches in the trenches by itself, and then just do whatever we can to slow that run game, because we know that James Conner is no slouch. I'm super high on Trey Benson. As long as we can slow this run game up, as long as we can run up the score and make sure that Kyler cannot establish play action, then I think this Buffalo Bills team has a really, really good shot. I have, for me, so the Buffalo Bills 28 and the Cardinals 21.
Okay, so we're scoring points, which is good. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So you got the Buffalo Bills winning. All right. Yep. Well, Dan, I appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. Sunday can't get here any quicker. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go ahead and continue on to this stream here. If you guys have not checked out Dan Mitchell, check him out here on YouTube. We do have the specific tag for his YouTube channel in the description below. If you're looking for Buffalo Bills content, you heard it there from a guy who actually covers the Buffalo Bills and has been doing it for a very, very long time. Is the equivalent of what I do for the Arizona Cardinals. So there you have it, right? Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not surprised that my guy Dan Mitchell came out here and said that the Buffalo Bills is going to win, right? Most sports books out there has said that the Buffalo Bills is going to win. Take a look, right? DraftKings, what else is that? BetUS, everything you could think of. Everybody has the Buffalo Bills winning this game. And it's because they almost kind of seem to forgot, right? They kind of seem to forgot who Kyler Murray is. Now, I'm honestly really, really excited about this game. I think this is going to be a very, very exciting game. This is going to have the opportunity of a shootout, right? I think there's going to be points being scored on the board. One of my biggest concerns of this game is that we allow too much time for Josh Allen to cook. That's my big concern, is that we allow too much time for Josh Allen to cook, right? And we don't apply pressure. Now, we've talked about this before. The Arizona Cardinals defense does not have a great premier pass rusher. We got Zaven Collins, which is a primary guy that started the season off, or his career off, in the middle linebacker position. Then we got Dennis Gardeck, which started his career off in special teams. So we have transformed these guys into edge rushers, and they can produce numbers. It's just we're looking for that dominant guy. And we just do not have that right now. So to hear the game plan in terms of what he said, I think that can work. I really do. I think the Cardinals, although we've upgraded the interior with Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, I think there is a game plan that can work for Sean McDermott and this Buffalo Bills if they use the short pass to their advantage. And that is obviously with, Dalton Kincaid, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, if he gets as much snaps as I think he would, right? So I think it's going to all kind of come down to the short game. I don't see Josh Allen taking the lid off on this defense. I mean, unless he has a guy absolutely beat, then obviously that's the case, right? I do see it there, but we need to provide pressure to this quarterback in Josh Allen. And we don't got that stud guy. We don't have him. I wish we did. All right, I wish we had a prime Chandler Jones in our roster. I wish the Cardinals went after a guy in free agency that we can say, yes, I'm excited about that. That was supposed to be B.J. Ojulari this year, and unfortunately he went down. And Darius Robinson, first round pick, found himself in the IR. So I still see a world where the Cardinals win, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Right? I still see a world where the Cardinals win. I think the game plan that he said is actually pretty masterful, right? The short game, run the ball. I think it's very masterful. But I think the Cardinals can win this game if they do a few things, right? Run the ball. And I mean, with James Conner, right? Be that big focal point in your offense. Run the ball. I think it's very, very important. Play actions. Trey McBride up the middle, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. to take those big explosive plays, down the field. We're in for a treat. We're absolutely in for a treat for this game week 1. I think this is going to be one of the best games. I ain't going to lie to you. I mean, there's a lot of good games. I'm not going to lie either. Like the Chiefs versus Ravens, that's a good game, right? We also got the Eagles versus the Packers. That's a good game as well. But I think this has the opportunity to be a high-scoring event, especially if this offense can protect Kyler. I'm just so darn excited. I'm so darn excited. All right, let's go over to the comments here. We got Richie saying, nah, they're going to scheme it up if they go second and short or they'll probably take a shot. Maybe. I mean, we've seen Josh Allen do that, right? We've seen him do that as well before, where even if it's third and short, right? Taking the ball deep. We've seen that. We have. But that's the thing. It's going to be a chess match, right? Nick Rallis versus their offensive coordinator. It's going to be a chess match. This is what it's all going to come down to. But it's also going to come down to crucial plays, right? Momentum swinging plays, either an explosive play down the field or a defensive play that's going to shift momentum to the opposing side, right? Fumble, interception. And we know who has a problem with interceptions. That's Mr. Josh Allen. He's got a big problem with interceptions. So I can see a world where the Cardinals go toe-to-toe with this team, right? I don't think their defense is as great as they once were. I think they lost a lot of big crucial pieces, Matt Milano being one of them. And I think the Arizona Cardinals upgraded some positions here that can hopefully fill in the big need that we had last year, and that was stopping the darn run. Man, what was that a head scratcher to watch year in and year out? Game in and game out. We cannot stop the run. I'm hoping that with Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, the additions of them, that's going to hopefully stop the bleeding. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to shut down James Cook because he's going to be able to be used in the run game as well as the passing game out of the backfield. I think it's going to be a very, very intriguing matchup, Bills versus Cardinals. But I got the Cardinals winning this game. I really do. I think we can pull off an upset. I really do. I really do. I think Kyler Murray is coming for blood. I think Kyler Murray has already heard all the disrespect that's been put out there. And I think he is truly coming out here and he's going to put a show out. He's going to put a show out. And now, of course, if the complete opposite happens, then we probably might attribute that to why didn't we play our guys on in preseason, right? It's always give or take, right? What happens here might attribute to the results. But I think this offense can be better than most people think. I really do. I think this offense can be much better than most people do. We got Sir Knight says, I think the Broncos could beat the Sea Chickens. I agree too. I'm not very high on the Seahawks. I'm not really high on them. A lot of people are, especially with their new head coach. I think they're going to be going through some bumps and bruises. I don't think they're going to be a 4-win team, but I think they're going to be a 5 or 6-win team. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the Cardinals need to take advantage of the opportunities that's given to them in this NFC West. That's Aaron Donald not being there. A lot of practice time not happening with Deebo Samuel. Trent Williams, just signed his. I'm sorry, did I say Deebo? I meant Brandon Ayuk. I'm sorry. Trent Williams just got signed up, but he missed a lot of the off-season workouts and stuff like that. So hopefully they go through some bumps and bruises in the beginning of the season too. But we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. Let's go with Adrian. Adrian says, Josh Allen is a risk taker. He's giving his receivers their one-on-one opportunities. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw a pick for the Sun. He will throw a pick. He will throw a pick. It will happen. Right? Because I think the game plan is clear, Run the ball, short game. But you're right. I agree with you. I think there might be something wired in Josh Allen. If he sees somebody down the field, he's going to probably want to throw that ball deep. It's just, I think that's just in his blood. I think it's in his blood. Can't stay long, but let's go Cardinals and let's go. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much, Andrew. Appreciate it. We're going to be closing up shop here pretty soon. We're just reading some chats. If you did miss the first portion of the stream, we went ahead and got a Buffalo Bills fan, Dan Mitchell, a guy who covers the Buffalo Bills, just pretty much what I do with my Arizona Cardinals. We had him earlier in the stream kind of getting a little inside look of what the Buffalo Bills can potentially plan to beat the Arizona Cardinals this coming Sunday. So if you didn't watch that, watch this on a playback. It was a really good interview. Let's see here. Let's keep it with the chat. We got Back to the Constitution. What's up, brother? He says, Greg Dortch about to tear it up. Boys, not easy to tackle. A little version of Samuel. Love it. I love it. I just, honestly, I'm happy that Greg Dortch is now finally getting his opportunity. Honestly, that's one thing I'm really excited about, that he's now starting to finally get his opportunity. Because honestly, like, it's been quite some time that I knew that this man is a dog. And we just were not giving him the opportunity. But now he's going it. Now he's getting it. So I'm absolutely super excited here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Buffalo Bills, Arizona Cardinals, week 1. Give me your predictions here in the chat below. If this is your first time here and you like what you've seen, you like what you heard, go ahead and smack that like button and subscribe. Also, share this video out on your social media. Share the channel out with your social media. We're going absolutely crazy this season with Arizona Cardinals content. So go ahead and make sure you smack that like button, share it up, and subscribe if this is your first time here. Give me your predictions here in the comments below. We will highlight a few predictions, and then we're going to be closing up shop here pretty soon. So let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsor of the video before we read these predictions. Shout out here to BetUS. Looking for a brand new sportsbook? BetUS is the way to go currently right now with the link below pinned in the comments, as well as the link in the description of this video. You do get 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits, and they got the fastest payouts in the industry, ladies and gentlemen. It's a no-brainer. They got things like this prop currently going on right now. You can get plus 145 if the Cardinals go under 6.5. You know darn well the Cardinals aren't going under that, but we bet no over for sure. But they got a lot of different props going on in BetUS. If you want to go and join, in the sports betting game, BetUS is the way to go. All right, let's read a couple of these predictions. Appreciate y'all for coming in here. We got Richie up in the chat. He says 27-23. That's similar to what I think. I think it's going to be 28-24, but very similar. We got Back to the Constitution, says 35-24. Love it. 13-21 Cards. Okay. 21-31. 24-21. All right, Cards. It seems like we got a lot of Cardinals up in here. Love it. I absolutely love it. Appreciate y'all for coming through. We will be closing up shop here. We do got my guy here, Jesse, in the X/Twitter world. He says Cardinals 38, Bills 35. Love it, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Another huge shout out here to BetUS. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cardinals.